What's up, guys? How's it going? We're back with another video, and this time I wanted to have more of a discussion. Since Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is coming out soon, I wanted to talk about some things that I know maybe aren't talked about enough uh, in the Commander community, but also just in, card games in general. So, for this discussion, I want to talk about just knowing what to play and what your play style is. For a lot of people, they're going to get excited about new cards. I mean, we all do, right? Like new cards come out, we're card game players. We get excited just with the thought of stuff. Like for me, when I did the last video on Hitagetsu, I was excited. I was like, man, do Demon Tribal, could do, Eldrauzi's and other stuff. You can do a lot with this card. Does that mean it fits my playstyle? That's the important topic that I'm covering today, is just like knowing what you play and what works for you. It's always fun to test out new ideas, but don't be afraid to drop it, I guess would be the best way to say it, or to don't be afraid to feel bad if it doesn't work the way you wanted it to, because we're all testing stuff, right? We're all excited about new things, but for some people, they actually don't know how their playstyle is, or they don't know what their playstyle is, I should say. And that's something that I would like people to talk about more when they're helping someone build a deck. For me, I have a friend that doesn't have, well, I would say doesn't have a solid way to play, but doesn't quite know themselves yet. And every time they build a deck, they come to, the veterans, or, the more experienced players or builders or brewers in the group. And, everybody has a different way to build, everybody has a different way to play. For example, even a friend of mine, me and him both have vampire tribal decks, but our decks run completely different with pretty much the same cards, literally. So a friend of mine runs Anjay, Maid of Dishonor, as his commander, and I run Olivia, Crimson Bride. The difference between our two builds is that my build, I like to reanimate my vampires and hit people in the face. That's just my playstyle. Bring out creatures, hit people in the face. Don't really care too much about defense. I like to just do big hits, like that's just my thing. I love beat down decks. It makes me happy. But my friend, he wanted to do something completely different. He wanted to do Anjay Maid of Dishonor to drain his opponent and not attack with his creatures. Now, like I said, we have pretty much all the same monsters in our deck. We have all the same creatures. We have almost all the same cards, but the way they're played is completely different. For me, I'm sending stuff to the graveyard to cheat it into battle faster, and for him, he's just casting them from the hand, letting them sit on the field, build up blood tokens, drain people for life while he's gaining life. And if you were to ask both of us, how to build Vampire Tribal, we would give you our example for the way we play, the way that we have fun. Now, if that doesn't line up with the way you play or something that you're not comfortable with, there are other options. You don't have to go with our ways, as an example. So, for the friend of ours, he goes to a lot of different people, and I've seen this actually in a lot of groups where I am. Like, I'm in Los Angeles County, Southern California. I travel all over the place, but um, I see this wherever I go. There'll always be someone who has an idea or they saw something, and the first thing they'll say is, like, hey, how would you play this? And it's like, okay, I can give you how I would play. Um, oh, that dragon's not here. I was thinking of the white dragon that I had first saw from Kamigawa. I don't remember his name. Anyway, that five colored mono white dragon that pumped itself up. So someone could ask me, I would be like, okay, it's a 3 drop from what I remember. Um, it was a 3 drop, and you could pay Wooberg to I think it was you could give it like +4/+4. So what I would have done with that is I would have made him into a Voltron. I would have turned that dragon because 3 drop into a Voltron, load it up with a bunch of equipment, make it untouchable, make it unblockable, and then have enough mana to pump it up for what I need and just one shot somebody, and then probably add in a creature like I'm just going off the top of my head. Who's that card that I like? This guy, Ketis. Go with Ketis and then have that dragon hit everyone else at once. Because by the ruling, it says whenever a commander deals damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent. So then for me, if I hit someone with +20 damage with my white 5 color dragon, then everybody else gets hit and that's commander damage to everybody and I win. That's how I would do it. But someone else might be like, hey, I would do, dragon tribal and, you know, pump up all the dragons and then swarm out and hit the field. Or I would do stacks because it's white, or, there are a bunch of different ways people would do things. And I notice a lot of people in the game who don't really have a set playstyle, or who don't really know what to do. They don't have this idea of like how to build for themselves because they want to take everybody else's opinions, hear what they like, or hear what they feel is best, and kind of go with that. And then if the deck doesn't work out the way that they thought it would, they kind of just write it off as, oh, that commander wasn't really my style. But then they don't really have a style, or they don't have a definitive style. For me, I like big creatures. I like to go wide. I just like to do big damage. If it involves swarming the field with 100 creatures and making them gigantic, I'll do it. If it involves making one creature really big and killing everybody, I'll do it. Like, that's just my playstyle. And because of that, I'm really good at building big mana decks. I'm really good at building swarm decks, Yu-Gi-Oh term, where you go wide in Magic. I think that's the proper term in Magic. Sorry, I play Yu-Gi-Oh more than Magic, but um, going wide and going tall are two things that I like to do best. So as long as I'm hitting big, for Magic, it would be, as long as I'm doing like 8 or more damage, I feel pretty good about that. Um, yeah, about 8 or more damage. Where other people, they would say, as long as I have the board state, that's all that matters. Or as long as, they have hand control, that's all that matters. Um, for everybody, it's different, and you want to find something that fits for you. Are you a control player? Are you an aggro player? Um, are you are you a big mana player? Are you a Timmy? Are you a Spike? Um, are you a Melvin? Are you a Johnny? You have to know all these things, and there are tests out there for this. Or you could just read about them. But that's kind of the thing, is like there's so many things you can do, like, and then there's so many subcategories that you can get lost in it. But once you know like what you like to do, if you're a Timmy player, like say for me, I'm a kind of a Timmy player. Um, but I like to focus on other things. For me, I really love artifacts. Um, because when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh and I was little, watching the original Yu-Gi-Oh show, I really loved how Kaiba used the XYZ Dragon Cannon. They were light machine type monsters, and I fell in love with machine type monsters because I thought they were really cool. And that translated over to Magic. When I started playing Magic with my friends, I got into artifact builds. And like artifacts were just to me really cool. Then from there, I fell in love with golems, and I was like, golems are what I like. I like big, stompy creatures that are machines that do stuff, and a lot of them just wreck face. You have some that are 9 9s, 7 7s, 6 6s. Like you have some 10 10s, 11 11s, 12s. Higher than that. Like it can get pretty out of control. So for me, being an artifact person, I love artifacts. I love machines. It's easy for me to look at a deck or look at colors or look at a commander and go, oh, I can put like all my favorite artifacts into that. I know what colors have what artifacts, what to play, what creatures to use. For me, it doesn't almost matter what colors I'm in because um, I'm playing artifacts. That's my passion. But is it only artifacts? No, I can incorporate artifacts into anything, whether if it's for mana ramp or if it's for um whether if it's for, accessories, utilities, etc., etc. And that's kind of the thing you have to find yourself. You have to find something that excites you, something that gets you interested. Um, a lot of people fell in love with werewolves, for example. The friend of mine that I'm using as this example um, went to everybody for tips, and everybody had something completely different for werewolves. It was like a melting pot of just so many different things where they didn't know what to do. And so I kept asking them, what do you want to play? Like what is it that you are interested in? What is it that makes you excited? Why are you building werewolves, right? And this person said, I want to build werewolves because I want to summon a bunch of creatures and just hit people in the face. Now that's my specialty, right? That's what I said I like to do. I was like, oh, well, then you came to the right person. But then why are you going to the spike player? Why are you going to the combo player? Why are you going to the Timmy Big Mana player? Why are you going to the control player? If you want to go to someone who fits what you want to do with the deck, then go to the person that specifies it to get tips or ideas. Um, that just helps, right? So I gave him some ideas, and then he went to some other people and completely went a different direction. And then eventually got so frustrated that he just asked someone for a deck list, and then didn't really like the deck list because it didn't do what he wanted it to do. And that's kind of the thing that can discourage people into not playing at all, or even just hating the game or just hating themselves. Um, there are a lot of things about this game. Magic is very complicated, and if you aren't enjoying what you're playing, what you've put into sleeves and taken to time to bond with, pretty much, because when you're sleeving up a deck, you're pretty much bonding with the deck. It's like you're taking care of it, you're protecting it, you're looking at it, you're thinking about it, you're putting energy into it, and if you're taking the time to do all this with a deck, then you want to do something you like. And not saying that you have to always. We always try new things. I try new things. And when I play it, I'm like, oh, this did not play the way I thought it did. Or it plays exactly the way I thought it did. And it's either I like it or I don't like it. I recently built an Umbras deck. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Umbris, I will try to find it as fast as possible. Uh, Umbris is about nightmares and horrors, nightmare horror tribal. And I saw the effect and I was like, okay, Umbris is powerful. I was watching Gavin Verhey talk about this one commander. Let me look for it real quick. On one of his videos, it was this commander, Skullbriar, and I was like, Skullbriar is an awesome card. It really is. It's an awesome card. And he was talking about how cool it was, and it really inspired me to want to build Skullbriar. Just listening to Gavin Verhey talk about it in his video. So when I saw Umbris, who has Umbris, I don't know, Fear Manifest, I saw pretty much a similar card. And I was like, huh, it's kind of like Skullbriar. This should be awesome. I already have the idea. I just don't play the green. I play the blue, and I already have a bunch of nightmares and horrors in my random pile. So this should be pretty easy to build. This should be pretty fun. I already had some of the what's his name? Or what's its name? Ashiok. Um, I had most of the Ashiok, so I was like, okay, this should be cool. I have most of these cards. I sleeved it up. I played it. I hated it. I hated it. It wasn't my play style. It wasn't a big, stompy, swarm the field type of deck like I thought it would be. I thought that if I played enough 1 to 2, 3 drop nightmares and horrors, I could eventually just make Umbras very big and then just hit someone for game. But as I was playing, I realized that if a player dies, he loses a lot of power. So if I focus on one player, let's say I focus on milling one player with all these nightmares and horrors, and he gets up to, 21, and I swing and I hit them for game. Well, all the cards that I exiled from them are now out of the game. So Umbris goes back to being a 1/1, and I have to do that all over again. I have to summon resources, get them onto the field, bounce them or something. I have to now do that all over again to another player. And out of 3 opponents, that's not fun. For a 1v1, he was awesome. I loved him. He worked fast. It was powerful. But in multiplayer, that was a horrible experience because I had to manage who I was, you know, exiling cards. Sorry, Yu-Gi-Oh term. Who I was exiling cards from, and I had to keep it even just in case someone died. I wouldn't feel like I was starting all over again, or I was able to keep my momentum in case I killed a player. And it became so much micromanaging each player and milling them and trying to keep track of how powerful I am and how powerful, how many cards are exiled. And it gave me a headache playing it against 3 other people to where I was like, this is not for me. And I felt bad because I was like, man, I spent a lot of time building this deck. And it happens. It happens as brewers, it happens as players. But did it discourage me from the commander? No. I just said that's not for me. But that's not for me in multiplayer. In 1v1, it was me. It was something that I liked in 1v1. So I look at Umbris as if I want to go competitive in those colors, 1v1, perfect. But multiplayer, not my playstyle. So, I took the time, I did the research, I put the cards together, and I took them apart after 2 days. I feel bad about it, yes. A friend of mine gave me the Umbris. And I'm not going to sell it. I might trade it. I might ask them first if they want it back. But that's a part of playing the game. I might even sell or trade that whole deck that I built just because someone else might love it. Someone who loves milling people, someone who loves exiling people's cards or having that type of control, fear factor, they might love it, but I don't. It's not my playstyle. So, I don't take it out on the deck for not being my playstyle. I just move on. I move back to something that is me. And that's something that I wanted to just talk about for a while. And this is pretty much it. If you're new to the game or if you're a veteran, you're in a slump or you're playing cards that you don't like, if you find yourself not having fun, it might be that you're playing the wrong deck. And even if you're playing a deck that you've loved for a long time, we as people, especially as players, grow. We grow into different play styles, different mindsets as we get higher in level, as I like to say, more experience. We start to shift our ways. You might have been a pure aggro person when you were low level or younger, if you don't catch what I'm saying. Um, and then as you got into, age, wisdom, and higher levels, um, you might want to slow the game down a little bit more. You might want to be a little bit more controlling. You might want to play more board wipes. You might want to play more counter spells. You might want to play faster. You know, you might want to play lower, smaller creatures or more mana or more draw cards. You might change something in your perspective, especially when playing with other people, might have changed along the way. And we don't think about that as we move forward. We just think that, oh, I like this deck because I built it, 5, 6 years ago and I upgraded it. Um, so it's always been my deck, but now your deck style may have changed and you're just upgrading the deck to make it more modern, but you haven't really updated yourself in your mental capacity, your mindset of how you want to play. It took me a long time to understand that, and I just wanted to share that with other people. Before I took a break from Yu-Gi-Oh and card games overall, I forgot how I like to play. And I noticed a lot of other people struggling the same way when they build decks around me. And ever since I've gotten back into Yu Gi Oh!, which is the card game I started off with as a kid, I found my playstyle back. I found my drive, my motivation. I found the joy that I had in card games because I remembered how I liked to play, playing decks that I played when I was younger. And it helped me grow as a commander player because now it's like, oh, I know what I want to do now, or I can correlate something from Yu-Gi-Oh and bring it into Commander, um, which I've already found commanders that do a lot of the things I want to. But there are a lot of things that you can use to find your passion. For me, my next personal project is this creature. While no one is playing Piru, the volatile, um, or volatile, depending on how you want to say it. It's an Elder Dragon, but to me, it reminds me of one of my favorite cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That does something similar. Um, and even though no one plays really this commander, it's not that popular, it's not expensive either. For me, I see it as, oh, I know exactly what I want to do because I know my playstyle, you know? And when I play this commander, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have fun blowing up people's boards. I'm not going to care about its commander attacks because it's going to be dying, going to the graveyard, coming back, dying again. I'm just going to be doing damage to every creature, board wiping and attacking people and having fun doing what I like to do, which is blow up boards and do big damage. So, for me, this is going to be a fun project. But for other people, they may see this card and go, oh, that card sucks. Oh, look at the mana cost. Not everything has to be reasonable to have fun. Sometimes you just want to have fun to have fun. Sometimes you just want to wreck people's board states just for the sake of having fun. And that's it for me. So, spoiler season for Neon Dynasty starts tomorrow as official, or I should say officially. Recording this the day before because I just wanted to share these thoughts and share this insight. So before we get into Neon Dynasty and before we get hyped up on the new commanders and all the new legendaries that are coming out, my fingers are still crossed for a samurai, a multicolor samurai commander that's at least 3 colors so I can play samurais, go Voltron, maybe get some cool swords. That's what I'm hoping for out of this set. But we're gonna have fun. We're gonna go crazy. We're gonna speculate over what cards are good and which ones are better than the others. I plan on watching Mitch's channel closely, and of course, applying my own 2 cents to legendary cards as they start to come out. Um, but don't forget, like it's cool to have fun and to play around with stuff and test new ideas. But don't forget what your playstyle is and where you came from. Because while you might be hyped up on one idea, your playstyle and your knowledge of what you like may actually take that commander and that deck to all new heights, different from everyone else. Here's the dragon that I was talking about. it makes it +5 for Wooberg. Um, but yeah, guys, I'm out. So that's it for me. Hope to catch you guys soon with spoiler season ahead. And yeah, to everybody out there, live, love, and blow everything up. See you later. Peace.